I love that. That's what it's all about. Don't ever think of anything as a certificate or a piece of paper. That piece of paper is worth lighting up your barbecue for. That's all it is, right? Yeah. What you've got in here is what it's worth. See, like small little examples. For example, you have a family.
Yeah.
Here, wife, children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are your children married?
No, they're not kids.
They're kids. Okay. What age group, if you don't mind?
10 into degree engineering.
Okay, fantastic. So they just enter their degree level. Now, do they have issues in life? Who doesn't? Who doesn't, right? So for example, let's say, and this is a very, very important part, it clubs with another body of knowledge as well. See, no knowledge is disconnected. Whether you are a doctor, whether you are a nuclear physicist, whether you're an accountant, whether you are a flight attendant or an accountant or a project manager or I don't care what, a dancer, right? If you have knowledge, it all interconnects in some which way or the other, right? So, your son, your daughter, whoever's in engineering, how did they get there? How do you know that engineering is for them?
Actually, they have selected, to be very frank.
Sure.
Because my daughter almost 99% student.
Sure.
After inter, she got 99. They have seen various sort of things. In the process, she has also written the exam.
Yeah.
She got some rank.
Yeah.
She almost surveyed about 10 to 12 colleges.
Yeah.
And out of that, in that limited knowledge, whatever we have,
Sure.
we could take the decision, responsible decision.
Fantastic. Did you hear what he said?
Yes.
Did you understand what he said?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. It's very good. And you're one of the few, I'd say 5% in India. You belong to that special 5% in India. Generally what happens, I'm telling you to do it, you do this. No, please, I don't want to do it. I'm telling you to do it, you do it. End of story, right? That's what happened. So, but in your case, you've taken one step extra. However, what I'd like to point out, and you may have done this, I'm not saying you have, but just for, just for understanding and learning sake, for life's sake, right? Have you authenticated her choice? Even though it was her choice, she did her homework to a certain extent, better than most people do. So hats off, fantastic. Hats off to you, hats off to your wife, and hats off to your family. Most people don't do this, fantastic. But have you authenticated it?
I gave the authentication of the information, not the decision.
No, I'm talking about decision.
Decision I'm not authenticated.
Exactly.
I'm not.
So it's like, scope validation, right? Charter acceptance of your, your project plan, right? Now, I'm using the word project plan deliberately, right? Because what is a project? I'm sure you've done this, but can somebody tell me what a project is? Anybody? What's a project?
Temporary endeavor.
Anybody? Hmm?
Temporary endeavor undertaken to produce a unique product.
Loudly, man.
Temporary endeavor undertaken to produce a unique product, result, or service.
Okay, so that's just a business. What's a project? A task? Well, what? What kind of a task? Basic, very basic.
A task which gives the delivery, maybe a product service.
Yeah, sure, but see that, like he does painting service.
Defined set goals with a defined set time, action-oriented results, deliverable actions.
Sure. See, the difference between a project and a project work and operational work. Big difference.
The project is a unique first one.
Exactly. It has a start and end, and it ends. Right. Now, if you look at your daughter's education, is it going to go on forever? No. So honestly, if you look at it from that aspect, it's a project. Call it a 7-year project, 5-year project, 4-year project, whatever you want to call it. But it is a project, right? So if I say, what's your need, right? So we can equate that to, what's your challenge? What kind of a product do you want, right? So what subject should she choose?
She
Yeah.
chose easy.
So she chose engineering, that's fine. I'm not saying, see, she's the chooser, she's the implementer, she's the stakeholder, she's the end user, right? The rest of us are saying, wow, ma'am, you did a fantastic job. You got 110%, fantastic. Yeah. What else? She's the one who does it. She's the one who reaps the reward. Of course, but people enjoy it. But if you really look at it, if you look at it as a project, now you start saying, was this right or not? You see, and this relates to the other area of knowledge that's called counseling. Career counseling is very, very important, right? It should technically start, in North America, it starts at a very young age. By 7th grade, they're already orienting themselves to what direction they want to be in, yeah? But if you delay it beyond that, what happens, you take a step that you're really not made for, a direction that you're really not made for. Then what do? It's possible to change, but holy macro, man, still going to go to college another 4 years? And that too in India? Straight reject, yeah? You can't go to college because whatever, right? The system does not allow that. Even if you can, in the US you can study till one leg hangs in your grave. No problem, pay the fee. If you qualify, you meet the criteria, go study, not an issue. But even if that's the situation, why would you want to keep spending that time? What's your end result, right? You could have taken this step, just like in project management, done it correctly the first time, so you get your desired result the first time. Yeah. So from that aspect, this is a fantastic discipline for any aspect of your life. I was actually joking, but it is true to a very great extent, I mean, in your marriage, like I said, well, the scope management kind of thing doesn't work, but all the same, think about scope management in a marriage. I hope this doesn't go out on media, social media. I'll get stones thrown at me tomorrow. Scope management in marriage, But think of it as reality, honestly, yeah. What? If I say, let's choose yourself. Let's say your monthly income is $1 million per month. Let's say, right? Yeah, we hope it is. Okay. $1 million. Now, the things you can do in life in $1 million are a lot greater than what you can do in 100,000 rupees. Yeah. Whew, there's no comparison. Trust me, there's no comparison. Yeah. So all of a sudden, if you look at that as scope, don't use the word scope. See, scope is something that project management, PMI has used, PMBOK has used, yeah, to describe what they want to tell you, right? They've got to use some word. But if you substitute it with another word, call it what you want. The ideology is the same, the model is the same, the process is the same. Yeah. All of a sudden, now and you know how many people are millionaires and are not happy? They cannot make ends meet. Do you know that? $1 million a month, that's $12 million a year. That's not freaking small money. That's huge money. And they're not happy. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Oh, I can't get that. I can't get that. The guy drives 5 Ferraris for crying out loud. But you see, they've stretched themselves beyond their limit. There is no limit to stretch, right? So if you look at it from that aspect, no matter where you are, a person who earns 30,000 rupees per month to a person who earns 30 crore rupees a month, right? You got to manage yourself, man. You got to. Okay, if you have 30 crores a month, let's say, we'll come back to you, 30 crores a month, is that good enough for you? Yes?
Too much.
You, yes. See, you're saying too much. It may not be too much. It may just be enough if you know how to use it. Or it will be too much, and then what are you going to do with the rest of it? Is it just going to sit and termites are going to eat it up? You're going to do something.
Yeah. I'll plan out
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You see, you got to scope your life out based on your capacity. Simple. In this way, in this case, in project management's case, PMI, PMBOK, call it what you want. You have an end result, a desired, a problem to solve or whatever, right? And then you map out the process this way. But in life, it's reverse engineering, right? You have all money, and now you plan out the product, the kind of life you want to live, right? And another very, very important part of business analysis, actually, and these are all related, as you travel this journey of project management in life, right? And I strongly suggest you do. Whether you do it for a certification or whether you do it for quality of life, but you gotta do it, is my suggestion, right? You'll discover these other things that are just as beneficial. And they come in because of project management, right? For example, I told you about career counseling. I told you about, how you apply it in life, et cetera, et cetera. But now think about what you can do as far as, what word should I use? In business, we call it business process engineering, business process mapping, business process re-engineering. Get it? Now these are operational things, right? It's an operational business process, and a project is undertaken to map that process or to re-engineer that process for greater profits or to increase efficiency or to eliminate some of the inefficiencies in that operation, right? So, see, there are a lot of things that you're going to discover as you get into this, right? If you get into it professionally, you'll discover these really quick. If you don't get into it professionally, you just use it for your daily life, right? It may take you a little bit more time, right? You might see different flavors of it, different angles of it, than a person like, I forgot your name. Rajinikanth. A person like Rajinikanth who has a painting business, a really good one, fantastic one. The way he looks at it will be different from a way a person just wants to use these principles, concepts, aspects, processes in general life will look at it. Yeah? So what you discover in life and what a business person, a businessman discovers could be different angles. But all the same, you will discover it. Right? Tell me one thing. Just a general question. Let's say we all woke up this morning at whatever time. We got out of bed and we knew everything on the world, on earth. We knew everything on earth. There was nothing new on earth. There was no challenge on earth. How would life be? How would life be? You had nothing more to learn. You knew everything. How would life be? I mean, you would say, very boring. What the heck am I supposed to do today? Right? Honestly, right? So learning actually improves.
It's a challenge.
Sorry?
Boring in itself is a challenge, so it will be challenging.
I don't know. There's a joke, and apparently it's a Hyderabadi joke. One of my friends from Hyderabad told me it's a joke in North America. So there are two friends, lazy bums, lazy to the fullest extent. Talk about bored. It's a whole new definition of the word bored. So they, on a hot summer afternoon, they're lying down under a tree with their mouths open, like that. Okay? So, and just they're lying down with their mouths open for hours together. And one guy tells the other guy in the Hyderabadi language, I'm just going to try to mimic it. Arey baap, wo pandu gira, mere muh mein dal de. So his friend says, kaisi baat kar raha? 5 minute से कुत्ता चाट रहा मेरे सूप उसको नहीं हका रहा हूँ तेरे मुंह में पंडू डाल so trust me, people can handle boredom better than you can spell it, right? And it's part of it is reality, right? Trust me. So boredom is not a challenge, my friend. For people like you, yes it is, but there are some people who can handle boredom like that. Okay. All right. Hey. What's the plan? Any idea? No? Let's forget it. I have no idea. Oh my gosh. What an ugly diagram, right? Oh, especially after lunch. Oh, that's hurting me. It's not that bad. Break it down. Take a look. Break it down. Very common question we should all ask each other. How many floors is this building? Any idea? 5 floors, I think? 7 floors? Okay, 7 floors. Plus a basement, 2 levels of basement, I believe. So that's all put together 9 levels. Yeah. And I don't know, each floor plan has probably a square foot of 5,000 square foot, 10,000 square foot, I don't know, X thousand square foot. It was a pretty big building. Can we move this building to Australia? Yes or no? No? No. What do you think? No? No?
You told me this.
No?
Yes, we can, if we break it down into small.
Exactly, exactly. Split it apart brick by brick. It might cost you $1 trillion. It might cost you the sun and the moon, but yeah, sure. Technically you can. Yes, you can. Cut off pieces of slab, take it out to Australia, ship it, spend the money, bring rocks from the moon, and voila, you got your building in Australia. Build it, rebuild it over there. Technically you can, yeah. But who wants to do it for that effort? Why do you want to go to the moon, bring rocks and pay for it, right? Go to the moon and have some fun there, right? Why would you want to move your building to Australia? It doesn't make logical sense. But technically you can do it. The point being that when you have something that big, break it down into smaller chunks. You can achieve anything you want. Anything, anything. People have gone to the moon, man, for crying out loud, right? What do you think? Just sat one day and said, I'm going to the moon, and whoop, the next day they went there? It was years of planning, billions of dollars of expenditure, failures, change plans, change management, scope, all of these fun things, right? That screen looks but ugly, doesn't it? Oh my gosh. I don't want to do project management. Break it down. Break it down to small pieces. Very, very simple. Yeah. The scheduling process description. What is that? Any idea? Very simple. And even if you don't know it now, you're thinking, your mind's working. That is a positive thing. You don't have to know it today. You don't really have to know it today. As long as your mind starts assimilating these things, digesting it, grabbing that information, making sense out of it, you're on the right path. That's all you need to do today. That's all. You don't need to memorize that and give me an answer. Okay, guys, tell me what's the answer to this. Who cares? Really? Look at it. Okay, what of it? It is a process that describes how you're going to build your schedule. What is in there? Oh my gosh, what's in there? Who cares if you tell me that? You'll find out. That's what the PMP is there for, right? That's what the whole world is there for. We'll find out. Don't worry. No big deal, right? We'll get you. Let's get there. Describe each schedule management process agreed to be used on the project. So it says something, you have process description, then it says something else. Not a whole lot of information, but do you think that's all there is? You think you won't find? Okay, I'll tell you one big secret. Don't tell anybody. Promise? Keep it in these four walls. You know, all of this material is available for free on the internet. See, information is available for free, man. It's there. It's there for the taking. Yeah? What I'm trying to say is, if you want to know that, it is there for free, right? Don't sweat it because you don't know it today, right? We have a little bit of time. We're going to miss a few things. Who cares? Really, do you care? Are you going to say, oh my gosh, I missed that process. Go online, check it out. No, if you don't want that, you want to ask, sir, Amar sir, come over to the institute. We'll give you another free session on what we missed today. No issue. So it's not the end of the world. You'll learn, right? So again, what I'm trying to say here, when you see such big, fat, ugly things, break them down. And that's part of project management itself. Break it down into smaller pieces and you're done, right? You'll be successful. Who has read this book? Unlimited Power. Did you? You have? Oh, fantastic. Anybody? Have you heard of the book? Unlimited Power. Have you? By Tony Robbins. Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins. I'll give you a really quick background. You know, sorry, we're kind of diverging from this topic, but it's very, very important, right? You know what he said? And his background was very, very merged. He was a very poor kid, abusive parents, drug addicts, alcoholics in jail, and he went to foster homes. He didn't make it, and he used to sleep on a kitchen floor when he was little. Then he grew up. He was poor. Now he's a billionaire. His castle, his mansion, his palace on the slopes of California, overlooking the ocean, his helicopter on his helipad in his property, choppers off to the airport, his own jet, takes him where he wants, comes back in his own jet. He doesn't stand in line like we do. No, he has his own jet. From sleeping on a kitchen floor to that kind of lifestyle. You know what he said, and what he said is true. In those good old days, people had the sword. If my sword is bigger and my muscle is bigger, I rule you all. You're all my slaves. Yeah, that's how it used to be 1,000 years ago, 2,000, 10,000, I don't know, something else. Yeah. Then it became, so on and so forth, industrialized age, right? In factories and industries and stuff. Then something. But today is the information age. You have information that you want all the way up to the yin-yang just with a click of a button. And 99% of it is free. You do what you want. Yeah? So information is there. The point is, if you orient your mind in that direction, that information becomes meaningful and useful to you. And that's part of what I was saying. So, for example, if we get your daughter's example, just as an example, maybe she made the right decision, I don't know. But let's say she's getting good marks, but maybe if she took, I'm just an example, if she took another subject, she would have gotten good marks as well and enjoyed it even more. I don't know, possible, right? So what I'm saying, the information is there, you orient your mind and you use it when you want, where you want. Instead, and click like that, right? Okay, anyways, so, model. Methodology and scheduling tool required for the development of scheduled models. Okay? Simple? You understand? Any questions? Level of accuracy. So, again, here again, right? And this is a pretty important one. Level of accuracy is pretty important, right? In different organizations, they have different policies and procedures. So, and for different reasons, right? As well, this directly or indirectly, most of the time, connects to what we talked about the first day, or I think second day, project governance, right? Project governance includes a lot of things, internal and external, sometimes. The external things are regulatory or auditory processes, such as what used to be SOX, if somebody's heard of that. Sarbanes-Oxley, have you heard of that? No. It's a process defined by not by PMI, another regulatory organization in the U.S. and tried to uniform this all over the globe. And this came about after the Enron scam. You've heard of that, Enron? 10, 15, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever, right? These were scams, actual scams, political scams, right? So, and how did that happen? How can we overcome or prevent these things from happening again, right? So governance plays a big, such regulatory processes play a big part in governance, project governance, right? So part of that project governance also, either because of external regulatory requirements or internal policies and procedures or project natures, dictate sometimes what the level of variation, allowed variation is on each project, right? So the schedule may vary by 5%, by 10%, by 50%, right? Depends on the type, nature of project, and the environment, the corporate environment, right? Okay. That's a maximum buffer, etc., right? There you go, right? Unit of measure, staff hours, meters, kilos, cubic yards, etc. Okay. Whatever the case may be. So what are you going to measure in? So it's universally understood by stakeholders of that project. Make sense? Make sense? Sure. Simple, they're very simple. Schedule model maintenance. Follow with current status and record progress. Okay. So you have a model, you have a baseline, and so how are you going to maintain that? Maintain means you're going to update it as needed at every stage. You're going to add, you're going to subtract, you're going to do whatever you're doing, going to do. What those processes are to maintain that schedule model. Okay. Thresholds. Now, if you take a look at level of accuracy and tolerance, right? level of accuracy and tolerance. They're two completely different things. A lot of people sometimes mistake them as the same or confuse them one for the other. They're not, right? The level of tolerance, for example, the schedule is going to be overrun by, let's say, 10%. And that's the maximum allowed, right? Based on whatever, environmental, cultural environment, environment of the, internal factors of the organization, external factors, or whatever, policy, process, whatever, right? If it gets close to that, now we are at a risk, right? We've got to do something to stop that overrun of the schedule. You understand? Right. So, level of accuracy is you have a buffer which says you can be inaccurate by this %. But if the project itself starts going off track, how far can it go off track before you start saying, hey, we've agreed to come back and get it on track? Yeah? That's it. Did you understand? Did you understand? Yes, no? Did you understand? No? Yes or no? No? Okay. So, the level of accuracy. Let's give you an example. This bottle weighs 250 grams, right? Approximately. I don't have a scale, but I'm estimating, I think, 250 grams. So you tell me, if you want to know the weight of this bottle, you will tell me, I don't mind if you're 10% over or under, right? So if I'm 252.5 grams, you're okay. If I'm 247.5 grams, you're okay. But anything below that or anything above that, you're going to say, I cannot take this level of inaccuracy. You understand? So when I estimate, when I make my project baseline, what is the level of accuracy you expect from it? You understand? Are you sure? Yeah. Everybody understand? You understand? You understand? You understand? Okay. However, the other one, which says the amount of risk tolerance, right? Now, you've got my accuracy within the cushion allowed to me, yeah? But for some reason, I'm looking at the project that the schedule is going to overrun by 25%. I'm watching it. As I do my analysis and periodical, analysis and monitoring and reporting, I see that curve going way off, right? Now that is different from accuracy. That's an actual derailing of the project schedule. You understand? Do you understand? I see a question. Yeah. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody else? Do you understand? Do you understand? No?
Question again, please.
Okay. Did you understand? No. All right. Let's talk about it again. So you understood level of accuracy?
Yes.
Everybody did? No, you did? You
It's
did?
plus minus.
I'm going to give you an example. Pretend this line is a project, right? My project has to stay on this line. And now the project progresses. I'm progressing. This much is okay. If I deviate from my project, I'm okay. Schedule, in this case, right? I'm okay. But if I deviate this much, you're like, hey, what's happened? The project's completely changing. No, you can't do that. Come back. So somebody will guide me back here, right? So how much can I deviate? 1 inch, 2 inch, 2 inches, 1 foot. Get it? So that's the allowed risk, level of risk that a project, it dictates. You understand? Are you sure? Positive. Did you understand? You understand? Did you understand? You sure? Positive. 100% guaranteed. Yeah?
Any live examples?
Sorry?
Any live examples?
A live example. Sure. Let's take this metro rail thing, right? I've met one of the project managers in this Larson and Trubro management team. I've met them a couple of times. Actually, a lady, I'm forgetting her name. Whatever, forgetting her name. So she gave me some info. Now, please keep this in 4 walls because it's not information that should be going out. It's between her, politics, whatever. Just as a technical project management person interested in project management, you know, these things are interesting and it should be interesting to us. So how do we avoid these things? So what happens is the project takes off and they have certain specifications, timelines, cost limits, planned costs, et cetera, right? All of a sudden, that segment of the project costed them 300% more and took 300% extra time. Holy macro, that's just not a level of inaccuracy. That's, you're revamping the whole damn project, right? Get it? Do you understand? Did you understand? You sure? Get it? Get it? Are you sure? Did you understand? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Did you understand? Yeah? That's basically what it is, okay? These are percentage deviation, okay? What's that? Performance management rules for establishing completion. Yeah, exactly. Rules for establishing what percentage has been completed. And we'll come to this a little bit later, a little bit more in detail. See, in the good old days, a long time ago, I don't know, 30 years ago, when I first went to the US as a very young guy, I still remember, and I used to work here. I was still a student and I used to work. That's crazy. I had that passion. But I remember over here and in US, we used to have, and I was an accountant. I used to do accounting. I still do. I love it, right? So we used to have a room full of accountants working on a project that small. That small. 50 people. One makes a mistake, oh darn. The curses would start. Hey, sorry, apologize, but you know, still the erasing and stuff starts, and then the whole process starts for a whole month again, right? Imagine, right? But over here, it's a click of a button. One person does that big a task, as opposed to 50 people, that small a task. Make sense? What does that tell us? That tells us that we've got to measure time along with money along with time. They don't stand alone. In one of the universities that I had gone to, there were two questions asked. I'll tell you one of them. A billionaire had come to our university, and this happened many times. It happened at my university, the University of California. Beautiful campus. I used to go to night college. Absolutely awesome, breathtaking, big halls, fantastic, you know, conference halls and stuff like that. Anyway, so this billionaire guy, I'm forgetting his name, he came to our college, and I'm doing accounting. So somebody asked him, how much do you earn? So he said, 11,000. There's pin drop silence in the hall. And he noticed, he soaked up the silence. It's per minute. You know, 11,000, we said, 11,000, you're a billionaire, 11,000? How? And he let it sink in, and he said, per minute. Now you see how time affects money. Money affects time. Yeah, you understand? It's very, very important. So this day and age, the latest project management methods try to calculate or do calculate completeness, variance, and stuff like that, combining money and time together. Right? One does not live without the other. Okay? Make sense? And we'll get to those terms later. Format and frequency, schedule reports, etc. How often are you going to give your stakeholders reports? What format is it going to be in? Is it going to be Word? Is it going to be Excel? Is it going to be, what is it going to look like? What's the template going to be like? What are the words going to use? Get it? So, this is very, very simple. Okay? Make sense? Make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah? Any questions? Any questions? No? Can I move? Oh, sorry. Were you writing something up? No. Sorry? We'll talk about it. What's the second one then?
Even for communication, managing.
What does that mean?
The project should come up to the expectations of the stakeholders.
Sorry, say it again?
The project should come up to the expectations of the stakeholders.
Yeah.
The
It's a tool
expectations.
for communication, managing stakeholder expectations, what you said earlier, right?
Their expectations should be fulfilled.
Exactly, right. It's just a tool to let them know, right? one of these things, it's a tool to let them know, right? You communicate, see, what do? How do you communicate? Let's go back to your example. You wanna take your family to the Grand Hotel restaurant, or, you know, whatever, for biryani today. How are you gonna let them know?
I will inform you.
You'll call, or you'll send a message, or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But what are you gonna say in there? What are you gonna say? If you just call and say, I want something, I have a plan, I want something. What's wrong? What do you want? What plan do you have, right? So, when you call or you send an email, there are certain things you send with it, which gives them information. Now, you might send a message and say, we're going here, and you send a picture and the name and stuff like that, whatever, right? So you haven't said it, or you haven't typed in the name, you've sent its picture, but you've done something, right? Likewise, among the tools of these, right?
Should be clear.
Make sense? Yeah, very simple, very simple. But I wanted to focus on this one a little bit more, because we lack that in India. Major gap in India, massive gap in India. And most of our projects fail because of that. Whether you believe it or not, most of our projects fail because of that. That one little thing, right? If that's not right, yeah, and you know, okay. What are the ways of, or what are the reasons why a project can fail? Can somebody tell me? Why do you think what are some of the reasons why a project can fail?
As I said, one, assumption.
One, sorry?
Assumptions.
Assumption, okay. What else?
Expectations are not fulfilled.
Okay. Why?
Over expecting.
Okay.
Or not streamlining.
Okay.
At a planning stage, all are not included.
Okay.
Resources are not on time.
Mm-hmm.
Finance, other stakes are also in a issue.
Mm-hmm.
Organizing structure of the project is
Okay.
not patronized.
Okay. What else?
Internal communication.
What is that? Talk about that one. It's a major one, major one.
Internal and external communication. Documentation.
So what happens if that's not there?
There is no interlinkage.
And then?
Once the interlink is there, the gap. Once the gap is there, the project is delayed.
Can you give us the examples of gaps that develop because of lack of communication?
Say office.
Okay.
I'm a painting contract. Suppose this hall is supposed to be done on, I should deliver it on 25th.
Mm.
This is, by 20th, all have to finish. Only I can put a final. If that message is not passed to everyone, they will not complete it. I will not be able to complete it. So I should give a message that everybody has to finish by 23rd. Only then I will be able to complete by 24th. On 26th Christmas, this will be ready.
Right. But if you don't communicate that, what happens? They themselves consider the project a failure because of you, because of them, because of something. So that's a major source for projects just falling apart for no reason, right? Sometimes there are difficult stakeholders, very, very difficult stakeholders. You know, project sponsors, the person who pays for the project. Sometimes they're just very difficult. I don't know why, right? So you need to massage them extra. You need to feed them with extra information all the time to get a pulse back, to see where they are, right? You need to consistently, constantly handhold them and keep them on track. You know, otherwise, remember that risk, they start deviating, going off, right? In many different ways. So this is just a scheduling example, but it can happen in many, many different ways. So if the schedule is not communicated properly to the stakeholders, all of a sudden they might start losing interest. They might get feedback information, wrong information, assumptions from other sources. All of a sudden, for no reason, your project's gone, right? And if your stakeholder, your sponsor, becomes difficult, your life is going to be difficult, right? Get it? Anything else? Move.
So when you use the word tool,
Hmm?
you use the word tool. for
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah.
I was more expecting that what kind of tool, what is the name of that tool, or what is the like the software, like CRM or IT, or in what way you communicate, what are the current tool communication tools.
Okay. See, when there are tools, the tool that you're talking about is the tool that sends and receives message. But what they're talking about, what we were discussing over here, at this point in our session, is not a tool used to send and receive information, right? For example, I send information on my cell phone. Email information, right? That's not right. Regardless of whether you send it from your cell phone or your email, the tool they're talking about is the tool that gives them information about that project, to show them where the project is. Oh, I was expecting it to be 60% complete. It is 60% complete. Oh, it's 70% complete. Oh no, it's 40% complete, right? It's a tool that gives them picturesque view, that kind of tool. Now, if you look at the tool of communication, not a communication tool, a tool of communication. In order to communicate, yes, you can do it through CRM, you can do it through SharePoint, you can do it through, there are tons of applications out there, right? You know what SharePoint is? Yeah? SharePoint is a very, very common, relatively easily used application. It's kind of like, how should I best, who's heard of SharePoint? You have. Who else has heard of SharePoint? Anybody else? Raise your hand. No? No? It's a tool, it's a collaborative application. Like, you can add users, create groups, you can create duties, responsibilities, and hierarchies of users in there. So for example, I can set up saying, this information, scheduling information, should go out to first the CEO, for example, right? Only after he says okay should it go out to the VPs and the directors, for example, right? So that is a communication tool, but this is not a communication tool. It's a tool to give them information about where your project is. Make sense? You sure?
Yeah, but commonly we have been understanding, tool is something like this. Here it's a new way of understanding what tool means.
No. See, PMP means that too. See, okay, all right, let's take a step back. I'm glad you asked me that question.
I hope we all are together, right?
It's okay.
Did you understand this question? It's a valid question. Did you understand this question? No? Can you repeat your question, please?
I was explaining the tool of communication. So the tool of communication, I was understanding that it must be how we report, what kind of application do we use, and then you started saying about the tool SharePoint or CRM and stuff like that. So I was in that understanding that tool means that. But here tool is not that CRM, that application. It's a way of communicating what percentage of project has been completed. That is the tool, like the percentage wise, what is 40% is got completed. So that's a tool. That is what you're
A tool to show you that it's 40%, right? A visual tool to show you it's 40%. Take this bottle, for example. Can I call this bottle a tool? Yes or no? Yes or no?
It can be yes.
It's a tool.
It can be yes.
It's a tool. A tool is nothing but an object or instrument that helps you accomplish what you want to accomplish. For example, I want to store water. If I open this up and I just put the water on the table, it's going to spill all over. I can't drink the water, right? So I need the tool called the bottle, right? Now this tool has another tool, the cap, right? To shut the lid, so you see it doesn't flow. It doesn't flow, right? So there are different types of tools in project management as well, right? So, for example, project management information systems, right? That's a tool. In that tool, we create that tool. You understand? You sure? So it's not specific to project management. See, now you think of the word as a generalized meaning of the word, right? Once you understand that, then you can import it into project management and see how it fits, right? In the word, application of the word tool, project management is no different from anything else that uses it. You understand? In this case, we're just talking about a different level of tool. Make sense?
So the tool could be, let's say somebody's constructing a 10-floor building, and they have a blueprint of you have completed 7 floors, and that 7-floor concept has been put on a printer. So that is shown to the stakeholders.
Yeah.
So that paper becomes a tool.
Absolutely. A tool for representing visually what you've done. Make sense? It's that simple. Do you understand? Yes, sir. You understand? Yeah, that's all. That's all there is. So, see, right at the beginning, I tell you guys, and this is going to happen sometimes. You're probably going to get carried away saying project management came from the planet Mars, and I'm not a Martian. No, it came from planet Earth. You're an Earthling, and we're going to use it on Earth, right? So, project management has all these terms in the English language. What it means in the Webster's Dictionary or Funk and Wagnalls or whatever means in project management. The application is specific to their processes. That's it. So if you understand the general basic foundational meaning of the word, you're 90% through. All you got to do is put into project management principles and processes. Get it? You understand? So don't fret over it. It's the same thing, right? Any questions? Shall I move? Yeah? Who wants to have a nap? Raise your hand. Oh, my hands are up. Come on, man. I think we're going to have to take a run now. Yeah. Come on, let's get up and jog. Okay, anyway, make sense so far? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah? Cool. Any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns? No? Okay. Make sense? See, plain simple English language. And nothing complicated in that. All it says, when and how, what is going to be delivered. I'm going to give you this bottle of water. When, how, and how much of it? Tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. if you're here, right? You get a bottle of water. If you're not here, you won't get it. I don't know if that's what schedule says, right? It just tells you when, what, how. That's it. Simple, right? It's not complicated at all. Hey. Ah. No, don't bite off your fingers. It's pretty simple. Let's take a look at it. Critical path or an agile. What do you think? Okay, let's not go to the next slide. What do you think critical path means? Have you heard of this word so far? In these 2, 3? No, you haven't, but you have heard it. Okay, okay. Except for you. Anybody else heard it? Critical path? Critical. Manjate. Very critical. Yeah. Have you heard it? Have you heard it? Yeah. And yes or no? Quick. You have? Okay. Have you? Yeah. Okay. Can somebody just explain? Those who haven't heard it before, can you just look at the word? Read this word. Critical path. What do you think it means? Tell somebody. Those who haven't heard it before. So if the 3 of you heard it, please don't say it. What we're trying to do here, the exercise we're doing over here, is just using simple English communication, common sense. So what do you think it means? Come on. Somebody, come on.
It's a path which is taken, which has the schedule, but which it describes the step by step which cannot be missed or which are very significant and important for the application.
Have you heard this before?
I've heard that.
But you didn't know about it?
That is my understanding.
Fantastic, fantastic. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? Please say it again, didn't you? Is the volume low? You know, in my training sessions, I have one rule. I think we've got to apply it here too. If people can't hear what you say, you have to buy us all double mutton biryani. From Falak Numa restaurant. Falak Numa restaurant. Okay, love it. You got to hear. See, one of the things with project management as well is when you say something, when you talk, when you hold a meeting, you better be impressive. If you speak in a low volume, trust me, right? Shake them up, right? So really, it's not child's play. Trust me, do it and check it out. Yeah, I'll give you one small example before you tell me, please, sorry. When I first came here, I have a little 4-wheeler motorbike, Alto, called Alto. Very small, it goes anywhere, right? Beautiful car. So, I sat in it, and I had a training session at somewhere near Makaraba. some engineering colleague. So I had the guy who got me that session, whatever, organizer, he was sitting beside me. So I'm zipping along the highway on the road to Ahara. Soon after Moinabad somewhere, 3, 4 cops and 1 cop sat. So I stopped my car, there was nobody behind me, so I just pulled it a little bit. So I said, "What did you stop me for?" Huh? He spoke to some people. So what did you stop me for? What did you tell? I said, "Why did you stop me?" "Where are you from?" "So I'm from North America." "Why did you stop me?" "You check paper." I said, "What kind of paper do you want?" "Registration." So I'm opening my glove compartment. Go. You see, I'm not saying, you need to be rude or anything like that. But what I'm saying, even the policeman, just like a project manager, right, learn to look at the expression and they know who to squeeze, right? So be bold, you won't get squeezed. Even by your project sponsors and stakeholders. I'm telling you, I've done it, I've seen it, I've abused it. Because there are times when I need to do something, I'm in trouble. So I'll go abuse my sponsor. The way I'll speak to him or her, I'll shake them up from the inside. He's really rough. And I'm kind of thing, very firm. Of course, I'm not screaming and fighting and yelling and arguing, but the way I speak is so firm and so stern that they back off. Don't press him the wrong way today. He's off. He's gonna kick our hinds today, right? So they back off. So I get my time and I do what I need to do, right? So please, increase it. Shake us up.
Basically, critical path is the path where, which is very important and significant for the entire project to be completed. And you cannot miss any of those parts in that schedule. That those things have to follow that particular path to completion.
Did you understand?
Yes.
Did you understand?
Yes.
Did you understand what he said? Did you understand what he said? Say yes. Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So, say it firmly. Because if you don't say it firmly, I think she's lying. Yeah. Say it firmly. Yeah. Absolutely. How clear and how simple is that? Do you agree with him? That's it. Critical path. If you say somebody's in critical condition, that means they need attention. You cannot take them out of the hospital. ICU, otherwise they'll die. It's a critical path. If you deviate from that path, your project will die. Simple. What more do you want? Next one. What is agility?
Flexibility.
Sorry?
Flexibility.
Exactly. Flexibility. Right? Can you touch your toes? I used to be able to. Now I can't. Now, I haven't done it in a long time, so I can't touch my toes. But I used to. I was very agile. In other ways, I still am, whatever practice I do. But flexibility, yeah? So how's the project flexible? Get it? So you understand, you already, you see, is it interesting if you look at it this way? Is it interesting? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no?
it is.
Yes.
Now you're not afraid of your books, are you? You don't need to be. It's common sense. Just follow the process, just learn it happily, right? Okay, we'll get you. We'll show you what it is. Oops, what was that? That was key concept. Okay. You see? In small projects. What can you give me an example of a small project? Anybody? Quickly. Should I give you an example? Yeah? Should I? Okay. I worked on a really tiny project. It took me a week, end to end. And this entire project management process was done verbally. They called me in. He was a senior vice president of operations. I forget his name, Matt. Matt called me in. Trust me, a hard nut to crack. That guy was, I'm happy he was the senior vice president of operations because he knew what to do. That guy was firm, stiff, iron fist. So he called me in and he said, "I'm fed up." I said, "What are you fed up?" "Oh, call me and say fed up. That's what he called me for." So he said, "No, I want reports based on these 3 criteria." So what are those criteria? He wrote it down. Very, very disciplined guy. He wrote it down and he said these. He explained each criteria to me. I said, "Cool, fantastic. That's all you want?" He said, "That's all I want." That was my project. So, end of story. Everything was done in one 5-minute conversation.